Well, with us now is retired Brigadier Mike Griffiths, the former Director of Personnel for the British Army, who lost his own son to the war in Afghanistan and then went on to train visiting officers, those whose job it is to break the news of deaths and injuries to Army families. Thank you very much indeed for coming in to be with us tonight. We've just heard how profoundly the families are affected, and you've seen this on both sides.
Yes, I have. My son was wounded in Afghanistan in 2010. He survived the IED and was flown home, and rather like you saw in the film, came back to the ICU in Birmingham, where he lived for 12 days and sadly succumbed to his injuries on the 5th of September 2010. So I've seen that side, and I've also, of course, been on the knock when somebody's come to your door to tell you that your son's been hurt.
And how did you find out?
I was actually on leave, and my wife was about to go out the door to work. She's a midwife, and there was a knock on the door, and it was my boss, and he was stood there, and there was absolutely no reason for him to be there. And as soon as I saw him, I knew that it was going to be bad news. In fact, the bad news was bad, but actually he was alive, he was in surgery, and he had a fighting chance. So from immense low, we picked ourselves up, prepared to go to Birmingham because there was still hope.
And then, once he was in hospital, you were there obviously as a military man, but as a father, a family member, presumably before anything else.
Oh, definitely. And Andrew flew home with Darren Deedy, who was wounded the day before, in the same company. And so the Deedy family were all there too. So, and many other families. But of course we were close because our boys had been together and had been wounded almost on the same day. So yes, you are. You're just a father. You're part of you're part of a machine that picks you up, looks after you, amazingly well, I have to say. They took the load off us so we could concentrate on one thing and one thing only, which was Andrew.
Now then, you spent your professional time trying to train others to help families more effectively. But how do you prepare people for that knock? How do you cope with doing the knock from the other side?
Yeah, the Army has taken the view that we do it by regimental system, so that when the person comes to the house, they are from the same unit, the same organisation as the man or woman who's been injured or indeed has died. And so what you've got automatically is the regimental family helping to support people through it, which is hugely important. That's our decision. We've also taken a very conscious view that the person who gives the bad news is not the person who looks after you long term. So we have a notifying officer and then a visiting officer, so that actually that awful news, which really does hurt, immediately, almost within hours, somebody else is there who actually brings in all the welfare support and the other agencies. So they almost come as a sort of package to look after you.
A very professional system then, perhaps, but still a human-to-human contact that must have a profound impact.
It does, and most of these people are volunteers. We don't train them separately, so this is in addition to their day job. And most of them take a huge pride in doing it properly because it is a fellow soldier. And of course they are human, and some things don't go as well as they could do.
Is it made harder, Mike, when it's a conflict like Afghanistan, when there's been a lot of public misgiving about it, for the families, for your family? Was it worth it?
That is the most difficult question to answer. I take great comfort in the fact that Andrew was doing a job he absolutely loved. He was a good soldier, he was a good officer, and he died in the service of his nation. And I hope that this nation will respect that and will respect all those others who died alongside him. But as a father, that is a very difficult question to answer on a daily basis in a positive way.
Do you think you'll ever be able to answer it?
I'm very proud of my son. I'm also proud of having been in the Army for all those years, and I'm proud of a nation that sends its men and women to international operations rather than just a nation who looks after its own borders. And I think being part of a nation like that should make us all proud. So I am enormously proud.
Okay, Brigadier Mike Griffiths, thank you so much for coming in tonight and sharing your memories of your son and your own experiences.
Thank you.